Y'all know nothing about this. You need to pay attention. Sit back and relax. It's time for Goodall's Country Kitchen.
All right, we're outside Springfield, Kentucky at the Maple Hill Manor Bed and Breakfast. If you're coming to Kentucky, you already know we're known for bourbon, horses, and history. And Maple Hill Manor is located smack dab in the middle of all of that. We're actually loaded up, ready to leave. We spent the night here. We just finished breakfast. And let me tell you, this place is special. First of all, this is the quintessential setting of Southern hospitality. The bed and breakfast, of course, the accommodations are incredible, but the breakfast is absolutely amazing, which you're going to see later on in the video. Another little side note, Phil Simms was actually born here. His grandparents owned this place up to 50 years ago, and it was built in 1851 by the McElroy family. The federal style brick architecture is amazing. It's been restored beautifully, and you will see, I'm going to give you a tour of the place. The furnishings are like period era, authentic, upscale, everything. All right, and stick around for the second half of the video because we're going to go into Danville. I'm going to show you some things there, and also some of what we have to offer in Kentucky as far as the bourbon tours, the history, and of course the horses. We're going to touch on to all that in the second half of the video. But the hosts that own Maple Hill Manor, Justin and Catherine, they are just so accommodating, wonderful hosts. And believe me, if you come to Kentucky for the bourbon tours and things like that, this is centrally located to where you can hit everything you want in just a stone's throw away. So, all right, enough of that. We're going to go on in here. I'm going to show you all around and enjoy your history tour. Okay, Maple Hill Manor was built in 1851 by the McElroy family. And it was actually constructed by Irish brick masons, which this, for its time, you would have had to have been very wealthy to live in a house like this. That's for sure. Here is the check-in station. But you can see the ceilings are 14 feet high. It has a lot of old antique furniture, which is all functional. It's not just for looks. This is the main dining room. I'm assuming where we're going to eat our breakfast in the morning. This room is going to be rented later on today, but I want to stick my head in and show you what a room generally looks like. Look, they have a private bath and shower, and also a huge jacuzzi tub over here. Where'd you say that stairwell was?
Stairwell back there.
Okay. Oh yeah, hidden stairwell. Is that where the servants would come and go?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me check this out. Like a bull in a china shop. Let's see if I can open this up here. Well, I'm not going to pry into there in case I'm not supposed to be in there. Wow, look at these old doors. Those doors are 10 feet tall. Okay. Now the owner told me, although there are common occurrences of ghosts in this house, nobody's ever been injured or traumatized too badly. So Hopefully the kids will make it through the night without having a breakdown. This is our room. Got a big poster bed. Looks like it has an adjoining room you could get over there. But this is the only one that you can bring kids. It has 2 twin beds and a nice size queen bed. And shower. All the rooms have their own bathrooms. Oh, there it is. The Harriet Beecher Stowe room. Isn't that cute? My great-great-grandfather, Frank Havens, who was in the Civil War, he named his firstborn son after Harriet Beecher Stowe's brother. His name was Henry Ward Beecher. And he was an abolitionist and was out west in Kansas with John Brown fighting against slavery. And he used to carry wagon loads of weapons, rifles, and he would make out like that he was hauling Bibles, and he would have rifles hidden underneath that he was going to arm the freed slaves with, and they were going to have a revolt uprising. And they nicknamed that wagon load of Bibles, they called those rifles Beecher Bibles, because instead of Bibles, they were rifles. I think I just heard something. Now, this room was supposedly one of the most haunted rooms here. Oh, actually, you could bring your kids in this room too. There's 2 separate beds. A nice shower in there. I'm going to head back downstairs. I love this spiral stairwell. And all these floors are all original wood floors. Really cool. Oh, and by the way, our bedroom, the owner said, was stained with blood on the floor because after the Battle of Perryville, this house was used as a Confederate hospital. After the battle was over and the Confederates withdrew from the battlefield, on the way back south, they actually stopped here and used this as an encampment and hospital. Yeah, look at these windows.
His wife.
Oh, wow. Man, they've got some really high-end antique furniture here. I can tell you that. Old baby grand piano. I always love the old fireplaces. This one was converted into a coal burning fireplace. You see here, this was the original fireplace. And then later on, they put in these coal burning units here. All right. So far, so good. Oh, and look at that chandelier. My dad would have a field day here with all this antique furniture. Look at this old desk. I think this is the public bathroom. It smells like sunshine. And by the way, this is in a dry county. I think we're in Washington County, if I'm not mistaken. And there's no alcohol sold here. But if you come here, you are welcome to bring your own. And of course, you're going to bring you some bourbon. And on a warm afternoon, it'd be really cool to sit out here on this patio or out there in the gazebo and have you a little bourbon cocktail. And this goes out to a balcony. And if you happen to be a short person, there's some steps you can get up into the bed with. This is right up Melissa's alley. They've already got the Christmas theme already up and going here. So what do you think so far, Mary? You're not scared? Huh?
She's scared. She is scared.
This is going to be an interesting night. Okay, we're about ready to bed down for the night. And you might notice the floor in here is painted. That's because after the Battle of Perryville, they used this room as one of the operating rooms because it was a second floor room and they just happened to have a flea infestation at the time. That's why they did the operating upstairs, and there was so many blood stains on the floor that they have to paint the floors because it's a permanent blood stain on the floor. There's no telling how many people died in this room 160 years ago. All right, girls. Sleep tight. Okay, when they brought the food out, I wasn't around. I was over there flapping my jaws over here with these other folks. But can you tell me what the griddle cakes are? I've never heard of them before.
So it's corn and onions and flour and chives in there, and then you just bake. I mean, you just basically put it in the skillet like a pancake, and then Catherine made a homemade like bacon and maple syrup to go on top.
Ooh,
And the syrup has onions in it as well.
So they're
No
like
kidding.
a savory pancake,
Yes,
pretty much.
they're so good.
Well, for y'all that watch the channel, y'all know I love onion and everything, so this is gonna be good. Plus, they got Jake's Country Sausage
Yes.
and a bowl full of home fries.
And we've got some scones and some baked eggs on the way.
Oh wow, they're talking my language now. All right, well, thank y'all for the description. All right. Sorry, got the syrup on it. I don't even have to mess around. I'll go ahead and try it.
Alright. Yeah, I totally understand, but I just want to offer.
You know, you share those.
Who would have thought that onion would go good on some sweet, like, it's not pancakes, but it's similar. The sweetness and, like they said, the sweet and savory. What a good combination. All right. You can really taste the corn in here. Look, it's actual corn in it. I've never had anything like this, and it's delicious.
Alright, and just let us know if you need more ketchup.
Okay.
Who else wanted the ketchup?
By the way, we were in bed last night before 9 o'clock. I didn't wake up until after 8 o'clock this morning. Slept for over 11 hours. I haven't slept that long, maybe ever. It was so relaxing. Beds are very comfortable with memory foam mattresses. You're going to sleep like a baby when you come here. All right. Got these home fried potatoes.
Golden crispy.
Oh yeah, I've never seen anything like this. They must be kind of marinated in something before I put the ketchup and the grace on there. Very good. Got a little sweetness in there. Mary, do you taste sweetness in there in the potatoes?
Yeah.
And of course, you know, I travel with Grace. I'm even gonna put some on this griddle cake.
All right, here's some cranberry orange scones.
Here's some baked eggs for everybody.
Baked French eggs?
Yes.
How's that?
It's 2 eggs with heavy cream and then salt and pepper and Parmesan cheese. And then you stick them in the oven.
I don't like eggs and I eat those.
Yeah,
so.
they are really good. Yeah, it is super hot. It just came out, so be careful.
Yeah.
Super, super hot.
Oh yeah, look at that. Look. Isn't that cute? All right, before I accentuate it, I'm gonna go ahead and try it. You think that's hot?
Yep.
Mmm. You can just taste everything. It just melds together perfectly.
How is everything?
Everything's wonderful.
Okay, can I get you all any more ketchup or anything else?
I'll have another water, please.
Okay.
And I think I'm good on the ketchup. You need any?
No. Can I have water too, please?
Yes, absolutely. I'll get the water.
All right. And you saw they put out a plate full of these cranberry scones. These are delicious too. Believe it or not, the only time I ever had a scone before was at Mazza Pie Pizza. But these are really good. You taste the cranberry in it, fresh cranberry. Very tasty. And I like how they have those scones nestled in some icing that's on the bottom of the scones, gives it extra flavor. All right, so as I was saying, that icing before, underneath the scones, that's actually an orange glaze.
It's not a glaze anymore.
I ain't gonna let it go to waste, let me tell you that. Mmm. Okay. I mentioned before the Jake's Country sausage they use. That's actually on the other side of Springfield from where we are right now. On the 150 stop right there on 150. All right. Now, I've let these French eggs cool down some.
Look at those crispy edges. That's the best part.
Talking about right there?
Yep.
It's still steaming. Look at that.
You needed me like I needed you so desperately.
I think I heard Lionel Richie again. The way that cream, it's different. Like you can take scrambled eggs and like mix it with cream, like when you make a quiche or something like that. But this is different. They're like cooking like fresh raw eggs with the yolk, not mixed up, blended with the cream. I don't know how they do that. It's fantastic. Mmm. Folks, y'all have never had anything like this before. Everything we've had is very unique and flavorful. Wow. When they say bed and breakfast, it should be breakfast and bed.
Huh?
Mmm. Breakfast first. Our neighbors were gracious enough to let us look in their room. I didn't get to look in this one yesterday. This is called the Lincoln Room, you say?
Yep.
And it's got all these books, a lot of Lincoln related books here, decorated really cool. And there's a staircase. Remember the staircase I showed y'all yesterday? I couldn't get through it. Now this is why, because it was up into somebody's room. So now I know why I couldn't unlock it and come up those stairs. All right, very neat. And look at this bed. So ornate. Yeah, this room has a lot more ornate woodwork and finishings than our room. Every room has its own unique flavor. Very cool. All right, we're about ready to take off here, but I didn't want to get out of here without giving a chance for the owner, Catherine, and her husband, Justin, who's kind of behind the scenes. But Catherine, is it okay if I ask you a few questions?
Sure.
Okay, how long have you and your husband, Justin, been running the bed and breakfast here?
We bought it in March of 22, so we're coming up on 3 years. But it's been
Okay.
a bed and breakfast for about 30 years now.
And also, do you get a lot of people from like international, or tell us about some of the clientele that you get here?
Yeah, a handful. We've had a couple people from Australia, England, Canada, France.
I have to ask you, being that I've had the breakfast this morning, where in the world did you learn to cook like that?
I've always cooked at home from scratch, just personally, so that I guess gives you a base. And then just finding recipes that look interesting online and using them.
Let me just tell you right now, her cuisine has a personality of its own, just like the furnishings and the rooms here. Everything has its own unique personality, and the same goes with the flavor of your food. The kids, everybody absolutely loved it. There were no leftovers.
Just to let people know that we offer full house rentals. They can rent it. They can order a murder mystery dinner party. We have small elopements here. We have afternoon teas about once a month if you want to get all dressed up and come have tea and little savories and scones. People can order massages, couples massages in advance, picnics, charcuterie boards.
Okay. Yeah, Justin was touching on murder mystery party last night.
Fun.
And if you decide you want to come up for one of those, don't think that like you can take a break and talk about the NFL coming up on Sunday. You have to stay in character the whole time. It's the real deal. They're really serious about their murder mystery shows here. Okay. All right. Well, we loved it. And this is the only bed and breakfast I've ever stayed in, believe it or not.
Wow.
So there's lots to do around here, and I really appreciate your all's attention to detail. It was a wonderful stay. Slept like a baby.
Wonderful.
And y'all don't know nothing about this Maple Hill Manor bed and breakfast. Okay, I'm here in the Bellevue Cemetery here in the middle of Danville, Kentucky. And being that we're showing you the bourbon, the horses, and the history, I want to tell you all today about a story of a forgotten hero that was killed during the Civil War. His name was William Owsley Boyle. He was the commander of the 11th Kentucky Cavalry, and he was the son of Jeremiah Tilford Boyle, who was a Union general. And at the outbreak of the Civil War, he was made departmental commander of the state of Kentucky. Now, his son, William Owsley Boyle, at age 15, before the war started, he got an appointment to the Naval Academy in Annapolis. At the outbreak of the war, he took a lieutenant's commission in the 9th Kentucky Infantry, and a year later was transferred to the 11th Kentucky Cavalry, where he obtained the rank of major. At age 17, he was the youngest major in the entire Union Army. During the summer of '64, the 11th Kentucky Cavalry was involved during the Atlanta campaign, and during that summer, there was a cavalry expedition into Macon, Georgia. The leader of that command was Major General George Stoneman. It was during that battle at Macon that George Stoneman was captured and was the highest ranking general to be captured during the Civil War. Union general anyway. It was during that action that William Owsley Boyle and his 11th Kentucky Cavalry, he managed to escape and snuck through enemy lines and actually got most of his regiment out safely. So he was then promoted to lieutenant colonel at age 18 and obtained the nickname the Boy Colonel. So during that winter of 64, George Stoneman was exchanged on a special prisoner exchange, and he wanted to redeem his reputation. So he came up with the idea to capture and destroy the salt works at Saltville, Virginia. So he had all the troops that were available in the state of Kentucky under command of Stephen Gano Burbridge. He had him rendezvous with cavalry troops under General Alvin Gillum out of Knoxville, and they rendezvoused at Bean Station, which is next to the Clinch Mountains in East Tennessee. From there, the command of about 6,000 cavalry under Stoneman headed up the Virginia-Tennessee Railroad, started at Rogersville, Tennessee, and fought a series of running battles from there to Bristol, Virginia, and all the way up the railway line to Wytheville, Virginia. They were capturing and destroying railroad bridges, locomotives, and Confederate troops under command of John Breckinridge collided with Stoneman's forces at the town of Marion, Virginia. A 2-day battle ensued. On the second day of battle, on December 18, 1864, while leading a charge, Colonel Boyle was shot through the head and killed instantly, fell off his horse, and the attack was repulsed, so the men in his brigade could not recover his body. Actually, there were members of the 5th and 6th U.S. Colored Cavalry, which were in his brigade. They carried out several assaults to try to recover his body, but they were pushed back every time. On the night of the 18th, the Confederate troops withdrew from the field, and that morning following, Colonel Boyle's body was recovered. They embalmed his body in salt, and when Burbridge headed back into Kentucky, they delivered his body with an escort from the 11th and 12th Kentucky Cavalry. By the way, I know all this story because my great-great-grandfather, Francis Marion Havens, was a member of the 12th Kentucky Cavalry and was captured outside of Marion the day before the Battle of Marion ensued. But anyway, the 11th and 12th Kentucky Cavalry escorted Colonel Boyle's body back to his home here in Danville, and he was buried in the family plot, and the 11th and 12th Kentucky participated in the funeral proceedings. His name is here on the main Boyle monument. You see here, Colonel William Owsley Boyle, born 1845, killed at Marion, Virginia, December 18th, 1864. Now, after he was buried here, there was a separate monument that was erected here. You see here, it says at the bottom, erected by his friends. Now, one of the reasons that William Owsley Boyle has drifted into obscurity in history is because when the war broke out, he was only 16 or 17 years old. He never married, never had children, and when he died, after the couple generations of Boyles passed on, his memory was all but forgotten. And it just so happens that I was at the Filson Club one day, and I was doing research for a second book that I was going to write. I was going through old photographs with the curator, and he was showing me pictures of old Union generals that would have been involved during that campaign, the Stoneman's raid on Southwest Virginia. And one of the photos he handed me, it had a colonel, a young boy colonel, and it said on the picture, it was written in the old cursive writing, it looked like N.O. Boyle. And that's what they thought it was, N.O. Boyle, but they never knew who an N.O. Boyle was. And I pointed out to him, I said, that's not an N, that's a W, and that is William Owsley Boyle. And he's like, the curator's like, well, how can you tell? I said, well, look on his cap. It had a number 11 insignia on his kepi. And I said, that is William Owsley Boyle, the colonel of the 11th Kentucky Cavalry. Well, Bob Holmberg was the curator's name. He was amazed. He couldn't believe that I identified that picture that they'd had for 100 and some odd years. So anyway, that led me to do more research on the boy colonel. And of course, his father, Jeremiah Tilford Boyle, was heartbroken when his son was killed in battle, and he actually resigned his commission, his grief. So later on, he became a very successful businessman here in the Danville community. But anyway, I just wanted to throw that in, being that I was in the area. I always wanted to visit the boy colonel's grave, and it's a shame. It looks like something knocked it off the pedestal. Hopefully they will put this back up, because how the significance and such a hero that is buried here. And hopefully one day the town will get together and possibly not only fix this monument, but make a bigger monument in his honor, because he definitely deserves it. He gave everything for the Union cause, and he was just a teenager. Okay, that's your history lesson. We're going to move on. I'm going to show you other things to do and see in the Danville area, and also the bourbon distilleries. And of course, you've got the horse farms that you need to visit when you're here too. All right, we're going to move along.
you know the facts of why I'm on a mission. You're always welcome back to Goodall's Country Kitchen.